Welcome, welcome, welcome to the deep dive. That burst of pure, unadulterated cinematic energy you just heard.
Oh, yeah. Unmistakable.
That's the unmistakable kinetic genius of Edgar Wright calling to us. And today, you and I are going to answer.
I'm ready. It's going to be fun.
We're embarking on a deep dive into the world of an English filmmaker whose work isn't just instantly recognizable. It's like endlessly rewatchable, right?
Yeah.
Always finding new things.
Absolutely. Layers upon layer.
We've gathered a stack of sources, articles, interviews, lots of behind-the-scenes stuff. And our mission today is basically to extract the most important nuggets, helping you understand how Edgar Wright carved out this unique, vibrant niche in cinema.
Yeah, figure out the how and why behind it all.
Exactly. The fast-paced, the kinetic, the often hilarious creations will go from his early independent shorts all the way to the big acclaimed features.
And I think the core of his appeal, it's not just the technical flashiness, is it? It's deeper. It's rooted in this real love for genre and this amazing collaborative spirit he has.
Totally. So we're going to trace his journey, look at the roots of his style, really get into his meticulous approach, and figure out what makes an Edgar Wright film stand out so much.
It's going to be quite a ride tracing that evolution.
Absolutely. So get ready to go beyond just, enjoying the films. You're in for a proper journey through his filmography, a peek into his creative process, and a deep dive into those details that show the brilliant, obsessive mind behind it all.
Obsessive in the best way, though.
Oh, definitely. You'll leave today not just knowing his films, but really understanding the craft. Hopefully you'll get a whole new appreciation for the guy who keeps redefining what British film can be on the world stage.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Well, to really get Edgar Wright, we've got to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right, the genesis. Humble beginnings. Edgar Howard Wright, born April 18th, 1974, Poole, Dorset. Grew up mostly in Wells, Somerset, though.
Right, Wells. That comes up later, doesn't it?
It does. And he has an older brother, Oscar, who's an artist. So you can sort of picture this creative household, maybe, fostering imagination from day one.
Yeah, you wonder how much that early environment played a part. And his school years, the Blue School in Wells, 1985 to 92, that clearly stuck with him.
How so?
Well, there's actually a plaque there honoring him and his drama teacher, Peter Wilde. And the cool part, Peter Wilde pops up later with a cameo in Hot Fuzz.
No way. That's brilliant.
It is. It's not just like a fun fact. It shows how he weaves these personal connections, these roots, right into his work. It's loyalty, isn't it?
That's a great thread. And speaking of early days, his amateur filmmaking adventures are pretty legendary. Late 80s, early 90s, he was already at it.
Before he even had proper training.
Exactly. Got a Super 8 camera as a gift. Then, talk about luck, he won a Video 8 camcorder from the TV show Going Live.
Wow. Going live, that's a blast from the past. Those weren't just toys, though, were they? They were the tools that basically launched him.
Absolutely. Imagine being a creative kid and suddenly getting video gear. The possibilities.
And what's amazing is what he did with them straight away. These weren't just, messing around. They were already comedic pastiches of popular genre.
Even back then.
Yeah. As a teenager, he wasn't just copying, he was playing with genre, subverting it, celebrating it. You see it in things like Carbolic Soap, his superhero thing, and Dead Right, the Dirty Harry tribute.
And Dead Right is on the Hot Fuzz DVD, isn't it?
It is, which is fantastic because it just shows how early those seeds were planted. That understanding of cinema, that self-aware, genre-savvy approach. It was there from the start. He was doing the Edgar Wright thing before it was even a thing.
So laying the groundwork way back. But he did get some formal training, too. Bournemouth and Poole College of Art and Design, 92 to 94. Got an ND in audiovisual design.
And that clearly meant something to him. Years later, 2018, Arts University Bournemouth gave him an honorary fellowship. He still talks fondly about his time there. It shows he valued those foundational skills.
Definitely. But it's often those moments of inspiration, those cinematic epiphanies that really define a filmmaker's path, isn't it?
Absolutely. And for Wright, a huge one was John Landis's An American Werewolf in London. He credits it with changing his life.
Really? Why that film specifically?
Well, he's always talked about his dual fascination, right? Horror and genre films on one hand, comedy on the other. And he said American Werewolf was just so sophisticated in its tone and what it managed to achieve. It showed him you could blend horror and comedy seamlessly and do it brilliantly.
That makes perfect sense. That blend is his whole career, basically. Seeing it done so well must have been huge. Genuine scares, genuine laughs, side by side.
Precisely. And it wasn't the only one. He also points to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead Death.
Oh, yeah, you can see that influence. The energy.
Totally. And the Coen brothers, Raising Arizona, again, you see that quirky character stuff, the visual gags. It's like a blueprint for his own style. Genre bending, visually distinct, kinetic storytelling.
It's all there in those influences.
Yeah.
So he's got the passion, the influences, a bit of training. How does he actually break into the professional world?
Well, his feature debut was A Fistful of Fingers in 1995. A low-budget indie spoof Western.
Sounds very Edgar Wright.
It does. And it actually got a limited cinema release and shown on Sky Movies, which is pretty good for a first-timer.
But I read he wasn't exactly thrilled with the final result himself.
Yeah, apparently not. Which isn't uncommon for artists looking back at early work, is it? But even if it wasn't perfect, it was vital. A stepping stone. And crucially, it got noticed.
By who?
By comedians Matt Lucas and David Williams, and that connection led directly to his first proper directing gig for them on Paramount Comedy's Mash and Peas.
Ah, okay. So that was the foot in the door.
Exactly. Networking, getting professional exposure, actually applying those skills in the real world, that's where it started clicking.
And that opened more doors, right? He did more TV work after that.
He did. Started directing for the BBC stuff like Is It Bill Bailey, Alexi Sale's Merry-Go-Round, Sir Bernard Stately Holmes. You can see him honing his craft during this time, working with different styles, different people, learning the ropes of TV production, his real apprenticeship.
Which all leads, I guess, to the big one. Spaced.
Spaced, yeah. Seminal moment, really, in British TV. 1999, Simon Pegg and Jessica Hines, he'd worked with them before on Asylum back in '96. They specifically asked for him to direct their new Channel 4 sitcom.
And this wasn't just another job, was it? This was the start of that partnership.
Absolutely. Pegg, Hines, Wright. And it completely redefined the sitcom look. Wright gave Spaced this, well, unusual look for the sitcom genre, as the sources say.
Understatement, it is incredibly cinematic.
Totally. He wasn't just, pointing and shooting conversations. He was using dramatic camera angles, movement, stuff borrowed straight from sci-fi and horror films.
Whip pans, quick cuts, dolly zooms.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a show about two slackers felt like an action movie sometimes.
Yeah.
It just amplified the comedy, made everything feel so dynamic.
And this is such a clear early sign of his signature style. It shows his whole philosophy towards genre. He wasn't hiding his influences, he was celebrating them. Remember the homage-o-meter?
Oh, yeah, on the DVDs?
Yeah.
Where it pointed out all the references. Brilliant.
Isn't it? It's like he's saying, yeah, I love these films, and here's where I'm tipping my hat. It makes the audience part of the game. It reframes referencing not as copying, but as a dialogue with film history. Such an important insight for creators, acknowledging influence as part of creation.
Totally. It turns watching into a treasure hunt for film nerds. And he was so involved, wasn't he? He even popped up in cameos.
He did. Sleeping in Daisy's squat in Spaced, some guy on the tube. And he was Eddie York, the scientist, in Look Around You with Peter Serafinovich.
It shows how hands-on he was, part of the team.
Exactly. Deeply immersed. Which brings us to the leap to the big screen, really. Spaced was this huge critical hit, cult following. It naturally led to him and Pegg collaborating on a feature.
And that feature was Shaun of the Dead, 2004. Game changer.
Oh, absolutely. A zom rom-com, as they called it. A zombie comedy that just perfectly mashed up that very British rom-com style with these loving homages to Romero, to Romani.
It was just so funny, but also genuinely tense at times.
Yeah.
And surprisingly heartfelt.
It nailed that balance, and it was a huge success critically and financially. What was really key, though, was how its very British sensibility, combined with its grounding in American genre film, made it connect internationally.
Right. It wasn't just a quirky British comedy. It had that universal genre appeal.
Think about that Winchester scene. Smashing zombie heads with pool cues, time to Queen. It's horrific, it's hilarious, it's choreographed. It's pure Edgar Wright. It wasn't just blending genres. It was creating a new language for them.
And that language, that formula, they refined it across the next couple of films, which became the Cornetto Trilogy.
The legendary Three Flavors Cornetto Trilogy, and the name itself is just perfect, isn't it? Started as a joke.
About the ice cream being a hangover cure.
Exactly. Appeared in Shaun, then Hot Fuzz. Wright apparently joked it was their answer to Kiyoshi's Three Colors Trilogy. Just a joke that stuck.
Love it. And weren't there other running gags? Like garden fences?
Yeah, Collis pointed that out. The fence gag. It shows that meticulous detail weaving these little threads through the films because the connection isn't narrative, is it?
No, not at all.
It's thematic. Shared traits, motifs, things like Arrested Development, friendship, leaving home, all seen through different genre filters.
That's the genius of it. It's a spiritual trilogy, not a plot one. Full of inside jokes and visual gags. So installment number 2 was Hot Fuzz 2007,
The comedy action thriller, which, again, brilliantly sends up American buddy cop movies while also being a genuinely great action film.
with Simon Pegg as Nicholas Angel, the super cop transferred to Sleepy Sanford.
Where, naturally, things are not what they seem. Grisly events start happening. Classic Wright setup.
Production started in March 2006, released early '07, and around this time, didn't he also do that fake trailer for Grindhouse?
He did. Don't. Absolutely brilliant. Just a montage of horror cliches, perfectly executed lines like, if you are thinking of going into this house, don't. Pure genre pastiche mastery, even in miniature.
He just gets it. And then finally, to wrap up the trilogy, The World's End in 2013.
The third flavor. This one gathers the old friends, reuniting for that epic pub crawl Gary King wants to repeat from 20 years ago.
But, of course, it's not just a pub crawl.
Never just a pub crawl with Wright. Unusual powers are at work, and suddenly the fate of humanity is hanging on these guys finishing their pints. The stakes escalate beautifully, from personal nostalgia to the sort of sci-fi apocalypse.
It felt like a slightly more melancholic, maybe more mature end to the trilogy's themes, too.
I agree, it had a different feel, but together, those three films, Shaun, Fuzz, World's End, they're just a masterclass. Genre blending, personal humor, meticulous craft. They cemented Wright, Pegg, and Frost as this incredible team and showed Wright could make niche ideas into global hits.
So, after the huge success of the Cornettos, where did he go next? That must have opened a lot of doors.
It did. And he went somewhere visually spectacular. Scott Pilgrim versus the World in 2010, based on Brian Lee O'Malley's graphic novel.
Ah, yes, such a different vibe. And much bigger production, right?
Oh, yeah. The budget was huge, over $85 million. Compare that to Hot Fuzz's £8 million. It was a massive leap. Showed he was ready for bigger canvases.
But didn't it struggle a bit at the box office initially?
It did, yeah. Took in about half its budget, roughly. But critically, it was loved, got praise from guys like Kevin Smith, Tarantino, Jason Reitman, which is interesting, isn't it? Critical acclaim doesn't always equal instant box office gold.
But it found its audience eventually.
Right.
Became a real cult classic.
Absolutely. That unique visual style blending, comics, video games, music, it was just so innovative.
Yeah.
And Wright was all in. Co-wrote, co-produced, directed, full authorial control, adapting that complex source material brilliantly.
He really felt like a comic book come alive. Amazing. Then, 2011, he shifted gears again, co-writing The Adventures of Tintin.
Right. With Joe Cornish and Stephen Moffat, a totally different world classic European comics, and directed by Spielberg, produced by Peter Jackson. Huge names.
And his buddies Pegg and Frost were in it too.
Of course.
Yeah.
Shows that network again. But this period also brought, well, a major turning point, the whole Ant-Man situation.
Ah, yeah. That was the saga. He'd been developing it for Marvel with Joe Cornish for years, right? This was 2006.
He had. It was massively anticipated. Seemed like such a perfect fit Wright style, that quirky hero.
And then, bam, May 2014, the joint statement. Wright leaves the project. Creative differences, big shock.
Huge. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? For you, the listener.
Yeah.
How does a director with such a strong, distinct vision like Wright's fit into something as massive and interconnected as the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's the auteur versus the machine, kind of.
Exactly. And Wright himself explained it pretty diplomatically later. He said basically, I wanted to make a Marvel movie, but I don't think they really wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie. He talked about having written his other films and how hard it is to suddenly become just a director for hire, feeling less emotionally invested.
That speaks volumes, doesn't it? About artistic integrity, stepping away rather than compromising his vision.
It really does. And even though Peyton Reed took over and McKay and Rudd rewrote the script, Wright and Cornish still got screenplay, story, and executive producer credits. Shows how much groundwork they'd done.
But yeah, definite crossroads for him. Probably pushed him towards wanting even more creative control on future projects.
You'd think so. And almost immediately after leaving Ant-Man, July 2014, he announced his next film, Baby Driver.
Which felt like exactly that. A fresh, original, purely Wright vision. He called it kind of like a musical, right? A collision of crime, action, music.
And sound. It totally delivered on that. That ensemble cast Elgort, Spacey, Lily James, John Hamm, Jamie Foxx.
Wow. And the way the action was synced to the music was just incredible. That opening chase.
A masterclass. Every gear shift, every gunshot, perfectly timed to the track Baby's listening to. The music wasn't just a soundtrack. It was the engine of the narrative, a character trait, the whole rhythm of the film. Pure Wright.
It proved his style, his precision, had a huge audience waiting for it. Came out in 2017, Big hit.
And then he surprised everyone again, didn't he? Moved into the documentary.
The Sparks Brothers. Announced in 2018, focusing on that amazing, eccentric cult band, Sparks.
Such a perfect fit, though. A band known for their theatricality, their unique sound. For a director so focused on rhythm and visual storytelling, it made sense. He clearly has a deep passion for music.
And it showed he could apply that meticulous craft outside of fiction, too. It premiered at Sundance in 2021, showed real breadth.
Definitely. And then a return to his roots, in a way. Horror.
Last Night in Soho. Announced in 2019, a psychological horror thriller set in London. He mentioned inspirations like Don't Look Now, Repulsion, proper atmospheric stuff.
Starring Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Thomasin McKenzie, and crucially, look who he worked with again.
Ah, the collaborators.
Mm.
Christy Wilson-Cairns co-writing.
And editor Paul Mocklis, who's been with him since Scott Pilgrim, basically, even back to Spaced, and the Baby Driver production designer Marcus Rowland.
That network again, that creative shorthand must be so important for his style.
Absolutely essential, I'd say. Soho explored nostalgia, ambition, the dark side of swinging London, really effective psychological horror, delayed by the pandemic, but a strong return to the genre.
And speaking of collaborators and building things, 2020 he formed his own production company, didn't he? Complete Fiction.
He did, with Nira Park, Joe Cornish, Rachel Pryor, his long-term team. This feels like a direct response, maybe, to that Ant-Man experience.
Securing more control.
Exactly. They signed a big deal with Netflix, adapting things like Lockwood & Co., The Murders of Molly Southbourne, The City of Brass, developing features of working title too. It shows him moving into being a major content creator, a producer, not just a director.
Building the Edgar Wright extended universe, basically. And he's getting recognition beyond just filmmaking, too. Appointed to the British Film Institute's Board of Governors in 2022.
That's significant. Shows his standing in the industry as an advocate for cinema itself. And he's still involved with his past work, too, exec producing the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off anime for Netflix last year.
Keeping that IP alive, exploring new mediums. Very smart. And looking ahead, The Running Man.
Yeah, 2025, apparently. Directing the new adaptation of the Stephen King novel for Paramount, a remake of the '87 Arnie film, too.
Working with Michael Bacall again, aiming to reimagine the story. They've got Josh Brolin, Glenn Powell. Sounds exciting.
It does, and it raises that interesting question for you, the listener. How will Wright's very specific style, the visual comedy, the editing, the genre bending, translate to remaking a well-known dystopian story like The Running Man? What unique angle will he bring?
Can he find satire? Maybe the original film missed. It'll be fascinating to see. Okay, so we've covered the career path. Let's really try and pin down that Edgar Wright style. What are the absolute core elements? For me, it's got to be that kinetic energy, the genre-bending satire, and the music. Always the music.
Totally. But the key insight, I think, is how those elements serve the story and the comedy. The fast editing, the whip pans, the wipes, the Steadicam shots, the dolly zooms. They're not just flashy, they are the visual comedy. They're the narrative drivers.
Like that whip pan in Shaun, from something mundane to a zombie. It's a visual punchline.
Exactly. It's the joke delivered visually, or the emotion. It's his grammar. And that links right back to the homage meter idea, doesn't it? It's not just referencing. It's a deep love and active conversation with film history. Like when he curated those film series at the New Beverly.
The right stuff.
Yeah.
He's inviting you in that conversation.
It's his creativity builds on what came before. It's not unoriginal to reference. It's acknowledging the shoulders you stand on. It enriches the whole thing, makes you appreciate the lineage.
And that engagement extends to his collaborators, obviously. Yep. Pegg, Frost, Cornish, Mocklis, Park, Pryor. This consistent team. Why is that so vital for him, do you think?
For a director with such a detailed, rhythmic vision, that shorthand is crucial. Imagine trying to explain every single cut, every sound cue, every camera move to a new team every time. With people who get his rhythm, his humor, his language, they can execute incredibly complex stuff like Baby Driver's action or the Cornetto editing with precision. It builds trust, lets ideas flow. It's about cultivating that collective expertise.
It feels like a family. And you see that warmth in the little personal touches, too. We mentioned his drama teacher in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
But his mom and Simon Pegg's mom are in it, too.
Are they really? That's lovely.
Yeah. It just weaves his life and art together, makes the films feel more intimate somehow. Even, dating Anna Kendrick after meeting on Scott Pilgrim. It's all intertwined.
Yeah. And that unique mix, the craft, the personal touch, the collaboration, it's brought him a lot of recognition. BAFTA nominations for Spaced, Shaun, awards for Shaun's screenplay, Empire Awards for Scott Pilgrim, the Oglethorpe Award for Baby Driver.
It shows consistent appreciation across different genres, different roles. The industry values his unique vision.
Deservedly so.
So wrapping this up then,
Huh.
Edgar Wright's journey, from that kid with a Super 8 in Somerset to this global filmmaker, it's pretty amazing. He's constantly pushed boundaries, genre, visuals, comedy timing. He proves you can be deeply referential and wildly original simultaneously.
Yeah, his films are both homage and innovation. And his craft, his joy in playing with genre, it makes you, the viewer, more active. You're not just watching, you're participating in that homogemeter. You're catching the details.
He shows artistry can absolutely thrive in pop culture, finding depth and resonance in genres others might dismiss. He makes you look closer, listen harder.
Definitely. It makes you appreciate that dance between sound, image, story.
So here's the final thought for you to chew on. As you revisit Edgar Wright's films, or maybe discover them for the first time, how does his meticulous craftsmanship, his joyful embrace of genre, make you not just watch, but truly engage? What unexpected details, what clever homages, what perfectly timed jokes will you spot next time? Go on, dive back in, maybe rewatch a favorite with fresh eyes, or check out the films that influenced him. See how his unique vision changes your viewing experience. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.